Recorded live from the secret underground lair of Crimson Cowl Comics and Collectibles, this is the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast.
The following issues may contain spoilers. As long as there's been dogs, there has been a bark. I'm Anthony.
I'm Kirby.
I'm Katie.
I'm Eric.
Welcome to issue number 280 of the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast. Each and every week, we talk about comic books. This week's show, we have a club discussion on a mini-series of Marvel Unleashed with issue number 2. Then we're going to jump into the weekly reviews. That's where we go back and forth, talk about the books that we've been reading, whether they're new, whether they're old. We're going to talk about them there. Then in the news segment, we're going to do part 1 of 2 of our preview for the November catalogs for Marvel and DC Comics, talking about our favorite picks coming up in the future months. So that is going to be the lineup for the show. We are going to jump into the second issue of Marvel Unleashed. When Kraven gets the better of... Actually, I keep forgetting this. Let's go into the club discussion. All right, Marvel Unleashed issue number 2. When Kraven gets the better of Redwing and Chewie, it's up to Bats and D-Dog to find Throg to enlist his help in rescuing them. But even a god of thunder might not be strong enough to defeat Kraven's employer, Blackheart, the son of Mephisto. This issue is done by Kyle Starks, Jesus Hervas, Yen Nitro, and VC's Joe Caramagna. So, this is the story assembling the Marvel pets once again, all the different animals, introducing some new ones as they're off to find the owner of one of the pets. This owner has worked for AIM, and we found out is working for our villain of this series, Blackheart, who we find out, I think this is where we find out that he is the son of Mephisto. I'm not sure if that's history that is tied with this character in the past, but according to this miniseries, this is the information we were given. We got Kraven the Hunters out there. We had Lockjaw that was captured. We saw all that in issue number 1. Issue number 2, we are leading into bringing in Throg, the Frog of Thunder, and as well as Bats. We were waiting for Bats in the last issue, had the little tease for Throg, but now we are getting this team assembled as they have to track down and figure out what's going on with the villain. So that is kind of the overall setup for this issue. We welcome Eric back to the club discussion here. So what I'm going to do is actually have you kick it off on what your thoughts are. How did you enjoy, or maybe didn't enjoy, Marvel Unleashed number 2?
I want to see Eric's cover first again.
Yeah, did you guys get a variant edition?
These are variants, yeah.
Okay, because I'm just like, wait, what? No, that's not Lucky. That's Throg. But first off, I will say, yes, Blackheart is indeed Mephisto's son. I first read about him in, I think, Hearts of Darkness, which was like a one-shot that had Punisher, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider. Blackheart tried to assemble those 3 together to fight against Mephisto. So, yeah, he doesn't like his dad very much. Daddy issues. But yeah, I have to say, so far, I really like the story. I probably like the character of D-Dog far more than I should, just because she really, really wants to help, but, she doesn't have any special abilities or anything. And I also like how it has, like, the Disney 101 Dalmatians, like, Easter egg, where they had the Twilight bark, the Midnight bark, and, it works the exact same. I really don't know about many of these other characters, like Throg or Bats, but, this has been a good way to, get to know them a little, and especially since you actually get to hear from their point of view, even though nobody else does, because while D-Dog's trying to tell what his name is, that his dog is looking for him. He's just like, why won't this dog stop barking at me? But yeah, so far I like it. It's good. I never thought I'd see Blackheart again, but yeah, like the art, like the story, and I just like a lot of animal comics to begin with, so this has been a good one for me so far.
Yeah, I like how serious it's been. Obviously there's still your normal like Marvel humor and such, but like the actual context of the story, just dealing with like real threats and everything, it's just like this is stuff that the Avengers would be doing. So I like that it's like still has that tone of like a human Avengers mission and such, but with all of the fun animals. So jump over to Katie. Thoughts on issue number 2?
Yes, I read 1 and 2 right before this meeting. I really liked them. They were both really cute. I don't feel like I have any deep like thoughts about it, but I definitely want to read more with these characters. Especially I knew I was gonna like Throg. Like Throg is amazing. They match my soul energy. Throg is cool. I love bats. Always good to have bats come in. It's interesting because like Thor is this big giant like meaty muscly guy, and then we have a little teeny tree frog as his animal avatar. I really, yeah, look at I liked the Falcon Red Hawk. That was really cool. I liked that. Or Red Wing. Red Wing.
Red Wing, yep.
They were nice. I liked them a lot. I didn't know that Captain America and Sam Wilson had a bird. This is new to me, so that was pretty neat. I liked that. This was just like a feel good comic. I thought it's from issue 1, but I did read them all together because I had missed issue 1. I really thought the discussion about like the Rainbow Bridge and D-Dog's origin story were both really sweet and touching, and grounded and humanized these creatures. I thought it was funny how none of the humans can understand what they're saying. That was interesting to me. But maybe Doctor Strange can, because he can understand bats. So maybe he's going to show up in another issue. I liked it. I am glad I picked it up, and glad we're doing it for a club pick. And I think it's really fun. I'm looking forward to issue 3.
Yeah, with Red Wing, in the comics, Sam Wilson always says it's like supernatural connection that like whatever Red Wing sees
Oh,
is what Falcon can see,
oh, I
or
didn't know that.
Captain America, depending on the era of his story.
Hmm.
In the MCU, we saw Red Wing, but as a drone in the
Hmm.
I think in Civil War, I think we first saw,
Yeah, that sounds about
but
right.
they haven't really done too much with that. But it made sense not to give the human Sam Wilson, a bird out all of a sudden.
Hmm.
It made sense to make it a drone in there, but it's always
Sure,
fun to
sure.
see that's in the comics of just keeping that, fun little supernatural element. So yeah, that's
Okay,
kind of
that's really good.
good.
Yeah. Thank
Jump,
you for explaining that.
yeah, no problem. Jump over to Kirby. Thoughts on issue number 2?
I'm still enjoying it. I feel the animals talk a little too much. If we were hearing it the way it would, it'd just be roo, 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 meow, 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 caca, 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 just constantly. They just go on and on. But
But it's
the thing with Craven, I thought that was kind of a weak fight on his part for Craven being this badass
Mm.
hunter. And then it's like, did he get perfectly placed in the spikes, or are there actual spikes in his back, or he's just thrown against this wall of spikes, and these spikes are all kind of sitting around him and stuff. I don't see no blood flowing out or anything. I'm guessing he's just knocked out against the wall, but yeah, I figured Craven would have definitely put up a little bit bigger of a fight, but what happened? And then D-Dog, he's lovable. He acts a little too tough for being not quite that smart, but I'm hoping that somehow, some way, somewhere, he comes across some item, Green Lanternish or something, that gives him some type of power, just a tiny little bit of power, or some type of ability to do something else. But yeah, it's like, other than that, I'm loving the stories. But yeah, I know it should be fun and all that, but I get nitpicky with certain.
I think there's a lot of great hero moments in here, not only with seeing, Red Wing's attacks, especially Chewie's, not cat superpowers. Seeing those moments there. Once again, the Midnight Bark with D-Dog, and then I just love the introduction with Bats on this one, with Bats hearing the introduction. But Bats and Doctor Strange are about to have a movie night, so Doctor Strange is coming in with the popcorn and stuff, and even though that I just want to read the line here. Doctor Strange goes, "As per your request, I made you popcorn, even though ghost dogs don't eat."
Mhm.
And then Bats is like, "I may be a ghost that doesn't need to eat, but I still have comforts that I." Oh wait, do I hear that? And then we get into the Midnight Bark. So those little comedic beats, but a lot of great heroic moments. And then as I showed earlier with the intro with Throg having just the big, like Thor Infinity War size entry where it's just like if this was in a theater, everyone's cheering and clapping, and it's a viral video of everyone reacting to
Mhm.
theater. So it has that kind of momentum when Throg shows up and everybody's assembling. But yeah, a lot of fun. And once again, I just like the idea that they're fighting. They're dealing with some pretty big and real threats and everything, and it's not. I think the last time I read like one of the Marvel or Pet Avengers or something, I think there was a lot of very zoo specific stuff going on, like they were in an
Mm.
actual zoo. But I like the idea that it's a pretty grown up story in the sense of Marvel Comics. Cool, cool. Any other thoughts for Marvel Unleashed #2 at all?
I just have a question. So, since Disney owns Star Wars and everything, why is there a difference between Goose and Chewie's names between the movies and the books?
I'll take that one. Um,
Okay.
so my guess is that throughout the MCU, we've definitely had some Marvel references. Spider-Man's mentioned Empire Strikes Back.
Hmm.
Coulson on Agents of Shield has quoted Star Wars many a times. I think Bobby, who is um, I don't know why her name drops from my head here, but
Mockingbird?
yep, Mockingbird.
Yeah.
She wears a Star Wars shirt in one of the Agents of Shield's episodes, so they've definitely made those references. So
Okay.
I'm wondering if if there was maybe either it was just too much, where they're just like, all right, we've hammered down the Star Wars, like we just get those
Hmm.
references left and right. But
Sure.
then having Carol with the Air Force and all that stuff, and then you have the Top Gun movie and Goose
Sure,
being
sure.
the nickname for one of the characters in there. So
Hmm.
that must have just been their opening, being like, you know what, let's make some more. Let's drop one extra Star Wars
Yeah.
reference. But that's just me guessing. But yeah,
No, that makes
I
sense. I
still
can go
trip
with
up
that.
over it. I still trip up over it when I'm just like Chewy. Wait, no, Goose. Wait, uh, this is Goose. Yes, but
Chewy Goose.
yeah, Goose is hanging out with us over here, by the way.
Oh,
But yeah,
hello.
so
All
that,
right. Yeah, that works for me.
that's what I'm guessing. If not, then the people who wrote the script for Captain Marvel can be a guest on our show and explain it all to us.
Oh, that'd be fun. All
Open
right. Cool.
invite. All right, that is going to do it then for issue #2 of Marvel Unleashed. In future episodes of this very show, we're going to have It's Jeff, the Jeffers, a brand new one shot that is out at the week that we are recording this. So look for that in future weeks when we record. My Little Pony, Black, White, and Blue, the one shot that is out already. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, #10. I think that one's out. And then coming
Yes.
up soon, we have Howard the Duck #1, a one shot. Twas the Might Before Christmas, one shot. And of course, the next 2 issues of Marvel Unleashed. And then possibly more club discussions as we go through the preview sections of these shows and see what we're all interested in reading. But that is the lineup for the episodes to come. And we're going to move over to our next segment, which is the weekly reviews. Welcome to the weekly reviews. Mine are very well themed to a big MCU movie that is coming out that will be out by the time this episode drops, The Marvels. So we're pretending that it is out there already. But thankfully, with Marvel Unleashed, we got to talk about Chewie, who is one of the characters from the Marvels. And all of the books that I picked for weekly reviews are also the Marvels characters, kicking off with Captain Marvel Assault on Eden. Captain Marvel soldiers up to save the Kree homeworld. The Kree home planet of Hala has become a paradise under the rule of Emperor Hulkling. But when Kree sentries launch an attack on civilians and start stealing children, Earth's mightiest hero must intervene. Half Kree, half human, and all warrior, Carol Danvers swoops in for an action-packed special just in time for the Marvels on the silver screen. This comic is done by Anthony Oliveira, Eleonora Carlini, Ruth Redman, and VC's Ariana Marr. So this is a one-shot, separate from what's happening in the main Captain Marvel book. So this is very reader-friendly, but it is picking up off of the kind of like the Empire event from a couple years ago. But they give you all those context clues. You start off the issue seeing young Carol Danvers talking about sneaking off to Cape Canaveral because she wants to watch a mission launch, and she knows she's going to get in trouble. She knows her dad can be, quite unpleasant with the repercussions of running off like that. But she says it's completely worth it with being able to witness a mission launch, and that just brings us into real time with Carol out there in space, and rather than jumping into a mission, she is celebrating a new era of planet Hala. So with Hulkling, who is Emperor Hulkling, and his husband Wiccan, through the Empire event, they basically kind of ended the long, like I think like centuries long Kree Skrull War, and they're at a point where they're kind of celebrating the unification, and everyone's there to just kind of talk about the peace. I think it's been maybe like a year in their time that they've been celebrating, but it wouldn't be a Marvel comic if all of the happiness went away immediately, because there's a huge invasion. There's a huge double splash page with all of these the Kree sentries coming in, and basically they're all targeting the Kree children, basically anybody that is like a half breed. And we find out this will. I won't reveal who's behind it. I'll just say that a past threat is basically out there to capture all of these hybrid children. Not only children, but this also includes Carol Danvers. That was one of the things that was released probably within the last 5 years of her continuity, talking about her history with her mother being half Kree and her father being human. And so everybody is basically under attack, and quickly Captain Marvel, Hulkling, and Wiccan all have to assemble to stop this threat from basically kind of bringing back the old ways of Hala and all the ruling that was once present. But yeah, this is a pretty action-packed issue. A lot of good emotion in here, ups and downs, light moments, dark moments. A great one-shot, just to kind of, while it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the movie, it's not a story tie-in or anything like that, but it's just a fun kind of random issue to see what's going on with Carol in the comics. And then as a bonus, Monica Rambeau, who is Photon, she has a little mini story that is her going out in space and kind of interacting with this mysterious kind of like fiery cloud, and we'll see what kind of battle that is. It's a very short story at the end, so I won't really go into that, but that's a bonus one there. And then it gives you a couple page preview of Photon #1, which came out I think at the end of last year, maybe beginning of this year. I'm actually going to be talking about it in my next round, but you get a bunch of that too, so you get a little sample of that all in this one shot. So there's a lot of good stuff. And the other thing that I'm always excited to see, especially when Marvel Comics is advertising the what's coming out, because somewhere in here there is a poster which I saw and I thought it would jump out at me, so I'm just buying time, and it's not popping out. So maybe it was in a different issue I was talking about. You know what? It was probably in the Ms. Marvel issue. That's why I don't see it. So that's a little teaser for maybe my third round of this episode. But yeah, so that is a good one shot. That is Captain Marvel, Assault on Eden, plus the Monica Rambeau bonus story. Jump over to Kirby.
All right, I got Alice Cooper, Volume 2, number 1. Volume 1 was a lot of fun. I got the trade back then, checked it out. I can't remember the whole overall thing, but it's basically Hell was taking over, trying to take over Earth, and Alice was some type of entity that could go in and take out demons and do all those things. In this one, you basically start out basically in the afterlife of Hell, and we're getting to see a lot of people that you might recognize, characters like Prince and different musicians that have passed. You also have Aerosmith playing a gig where they're trying to take was it Perry, take him down to the depths to do what they can with them, build their own. I don't know if they're trying to build their own band to summon demons, or if they just want them there for their own fun and frivolous stuff. But you get zombies, demons, rock stars, Beelzebub, comedians, angels, nightmare worlds, our world, just crossovers. And while Beelzebub's trying to send demons our way and open up certain realms, Alice is taking up his guitar again and starts playing well, he's at his concert and notices that some of his concert goers are starting to change into zombies. And he's like, oh, what the heck's going on? Something must be awry. And he just does they go through the first concert without any type of casualties or fighting or anything going on. Then he learns more about what is happening. And then the next concert, he starts playing certain types of music, and that ends up starting to change some of the zombified concert goers back to their normal state. So I'm guessing that's where they're going to go with this. They're going to basically have it where Hell's realms are opening up into our world, and it's just gradually going to start turning everybody. And then Alice is going to have to fight back by putting on a battle of the bands or something. Who knows? But yeah, it's not grabbing me as much as the first volume did. It's a little bit goofier to start with, so I'm hoping it pulls itself together as it goes on. But yeah, there's Beelzebub himself, and it just didn't really give you too much of what the story's going into yet in this first issue. But we do know Alice still has his powers. He's still as far as we know, our main fighter for our side, and just gonna see what happens with it. So I'm sure it'll be lots of fun. But yeah, I will stick with it and see how the second volume goes.
Yeah, before your review, I had one question, but now you pretty much answered it, because this isn't about Betty Cooper's mom from Archie Comics. It's not about that Alice Cooper.
No, not at all. I don't think they're related in any way, shape, or form. Okay. I should mention that the writer is Rodney Barnes, artist is Edu Mena, and colorist Adriano Lucas. So, don't know those names myself. So I don't know if they're new for the whole run themselves. I can't remember who was part of the first one. So.
Alrighty, cool. All right, let's jump over to Katie. What you got for us?
Okay, I have Ex-Yakuza and Stray Kitten Volume 1. Story and art are by Riddle Kamimura. All right, so you remember last week we were going through the previews. I saw Volume 4 of this and said I wanted to try it, so I did. The premise is pretty simple. A man named Jin walks away from the Yakuza, which is like the Japanese like mob, and he, it turns out, is a kind of mysterious guy with a soft side for adopting animals. So our story opens up with this poor sweet little kitty has been abandoned in a box on the sidewalk, and it's raining out, and he's really going through it, and then Jin picks him up and decides to take him in, but little kitty gets scared because Jin looks like a really really tough guy you don't want to mess with. His face is all scarred up, his arms are scarred up, he's got a good scowl going on type thing, really like narrow shifty eyes. So this poor little kitty's afraid. He's like, oh man, I just went from bad to worse. But it turns out that no, Jin looks like a scary guy, and he could probably kill a man with one hand, but he loves little baby kitties. So he brings in his kitty, gets it all cleaned up, fed, wrapped up in a papoose, or not a papoose, like a little blanket. So it's all snuggled. And a lot of the humor in this comes from that this cat is just expecting at every turn for something nefarious to happen. Like, Jin's trying to give him like a syringe of medicine, and the cat's like, oh my God, he's going to drug me. Like, this is totally over. And, of course, him getting a bath is, at first, he's like, this is awful. Like, why are you torturing me? But then he's like, oh, actually, I like bubble baths. This is all right. And, he's afraid to like go to sleep because he's like, oh man, I'm not going to wake up if I close my eyes. But he does, and it's all okay. And we find out that Jin is a part of a group of people that rescues animals, and the people themselves seem to have come from some pretty rough backgrounds. Bit of like a Pipples and Paroli thing going on, or I know there's some medium security prisons that are letting prisoners adopt like stray cats if they meet some requirements. So kind of that sort of thing going on. And the kitty goes to the vet, which is incredibly traumatizing. That was very upsetting to him. The vet also looks like, he could slice you and dice you without even trying, but he's a nice guy. And then at the end, we get to be introduced to all the other shelter animals at this pet cafe that Jin runs. And our sweet little kitty gets socialized too. The kitty gets named Sabu, Sabu, and it is 1.5 months, and it is male, and he's very happy to have a full belly and clean fur. Very cute, very very sweet. One kind of con that I had is they have this little teeny kitten saying swear words, like PG-13 swear words, so that was weird because I'm like, that kind of detracted from the wholesome vibe, even if that is like, what a cat might be thinking in that situation. Also, he's just a little baby. So I'm like, no, you have to use nice words. That was a little different. That's, just my personal taste, not feeling very good about that. But, decide what you think. In terms of like overall quality of the manga, I would say this one was just okay. I've read two other cat-based mangas recently. One is called Cat and Gamer, and that's really big on like the cute, the sweet, the silly, the playful. And then another one called A Man and His Cat, which is sweet but bittersweet. There's some sadness behind that story. So that one felt a little bit more impactful and meaningful. This is a very good concept. I want to praise their creativity. Definitely I see where they're going with the humor. It was a little goofy at some points, but I don't think this is really meant to be taken seriously. I haven't decided if I'm going to continue on with volume 2 or not, but it was definitely worth trying. I would probably say anyone like 11 and up can read this. If you're okay with, I think he says, I think they say like crap and hell and damn it. So I think if you're all right with that, there might be a couple 4-letter words in here. Decide at your own risk, like how you feel about that. I don't know. It is all in black and white, which is pretty common, and it's published by Seven Seas Entertainment. That's my review on Ex-Yakuza and Stray Kitten Volume 1. Check it out and see what you think for a perfectly fun time.
On Cat Gamer, that you're enjoying that one. That's
Yes.
nice. You've been following it from the beginning.
No, I saw it recommended like on my Amazon list, and so I got it from the library like just a few months ago. And so no, I haven't been following it from the beginning. It's within the last like 3 months that I've gotten into it, but Volume 3 just came out a few weeks ago, and I've really liked it. So
Yeah,
really fun.
I seen it late, and I wanted to get into it, but I gotta start from the beginning. So.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be hard to get a hold of. So I hope you like it.
All right, let's jump over to Eric.
Well, let's keep with the animal theme. I have from Scout Comics, Howie the Hellhound. He's a good boy. Written by Jared Prestwidge, illustrated by Carlos Trigo. I hope I'm not butchering those names. But this is an interesting one, especially if you're a dog lover. Starts out in hell with Howie escaping. And you find out that the demons don't like that Howie's escaping. So at this point, he hasn't really been named yet. Then we're introduced to the other character. Her name is Louise, who's an aspiring actress. She just comes off of an audition where she doesn't even get to read her lines because the person doing the audition, or running the audition, says, "I want you to know who you are, but you can come back." So anyway, she leaves, and Howie, not quite up with etiquette on planet Earth, lifts his leg on someone's truck, but it's kind of like lava. Because, whole Hellhound thing. So they end up chasing, the truckers end up chasing him. He literally leaps into Louise's arms. And, they're all upset that the doggy, it basically melted their front tire and probably suspension. I don't know. That looked like some powerful piss. If you pardon my French. Hopefully that's not too bad. But, they start threatening her, and she realizes she has no weapon, nothing to fight with except an ice cream cone. But she also has Howie, who causes them to hallucinate. So the ice cream cone becomes something really, I don't want that smushed in my face. But yeah, so she finds a dog, she saves him, he saves her, he steals her ice cream. And she calls him Howie because the ice cream came from Howie's ice cream. So it's a very, it's actually a heartwarming story, even though the doggy's a denizen of hell. But from there, we find out that, yeah, she gets called back for an audition. And Howie must be a good judge of character because he was left with one of her friends, and he's just an aggressive lover, as many dogs are with their tongue. I love you, that type of thing. So it leaves off where demons in hell are monitoring the situation, and they're like, there's a lightning glare, but it's like a cartoony version of Ghost Rider, and they're like, we're screwed. So, a much different tone from the last Scout comic I had, which was, I forgot the recount. But it's nice. The art is cartoony. I mean, you have demons, but the demons are actually kind of cute. And of course, it has a dog that, even though he has razor sharp teeth, flammable urine, and the ability to make you hallucinate absolutely horrific visions, he's still a good boy. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this, but it's definitely an issue which got me wanting to read more. So
cool. All right, the next part of the Marvels curated stack here is Monica Rambeau Photon #1. It's up to Photon to put the universe back together. From the New Orleans Harbor Patrol to the Avengers, the Ultimates, and beyond, Monica, the hero known as Photon, has been a leader and team player her entire life. Now, as Monica faces a reality-shattering crisis in her first ever solo series, readers will explore the outer reaches of the Marvel Universe through the eyes of one of its most powerful heroes. charged with making a very special, very cosmic delivery. This should be light work for Monica. It's family drama, if family drama doesn't hold her back. But when she runs into someone from her past who she really can't stand, it'll lead to an unexpected, make that impossible Avengers reunion. This issue here is done by Eve L. Ewing, Luca Maresca, Ivan Fiorelli, Carlos Lopez, and VC's Clayton Cowles. All right, like I said, this one came out either at the last end of last year, beginning of the year, but I figured I was going to usher it into this discussion, honoring all of the main Marvel's characters. And yeah, Monica is someone who's been around for decades, has been on many different teams. She's been leaders of those teams. She's held many different mantles. She's a former Captain Marvel herself. But this story is kind of leading into the present time, kind of going over what she is kind of trying to find herself at this current era. She has a fun little run in. She's in, I assume, New Orleans, and she has this run in with this older couple, and there's this older lady who's very excited to run into Monica because she is her favorite Avenger. And the guy that she is with, he's just like, well, if we just wait for a picture, the other Avengers will show up too, and we can just get everybody in the photo. And Monica is like trying to like cut into their conversation, and then the old lady's like, well, no, I want a photo with with her. She'll always be Captain Marvel to me. And then Monica's like, well, I'm just here on a solo mission, and so no other Avengers are showing up anyways. But it has a fun little moment there. We get a little brief like intro about her losing some powers from a past story. They harken back to Avengers number 293, so it's one of those things where they really dip into the old Marvel continuity and just kind of show with updated art, new art, showing a big moment back then. And but we cut back to our regular story, and she has a fun little interaction at the Sanctum Sanctorum with Wong and Doctor Strange. But then there's a thread about in which they're fighting this kind of like this tall, kind of not a robot, but just kind of a robot, type of armor and stuff like that. We do get a cameo from Spider-Man. Spider-Man swings into this issue, so there's a lot going on here. And then the other portion of that synopsis was talking about the family issues. She's on the phone constantly with her cousin, who he's going through a breakup, and Monica's dad's just saying like, you just kind of talking about having to deal with him all the time with this cousin, and he's always seems to be bringing these problems up, and Monica's just kind of juggling all this kind of family drama and stuff. So this issue mostly concentrates just on Monica. There's not like there's a trade paperback out for this miniseries, I believe 5 issues. So while this issue doesn't do a lot to kind of set up the overall threat of what's going on, it just kind of just focuses on Monica and really kind of just lays the groundwork for all of the current problems, good or bad, that's going on in her life. Awesome double splash page there with her flying through the sky. But yeah, so this is just a nice little setup. Nothing groundbreaking to big earth shattering like cliffhanger or anything like that. But it is part of a mini series story. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I need to add there. So if you're rather new to Monica in the MCU, we first saw her as a little girl in the Captain Marvel movie. We saw her growing up in quote unquote present time in WandaVision, and then we'll see her story continue with the Marvels. So if you're unfamiliar, or you come out of the movie and you're excited to see more, there's a trade paperback out there for Monica Rambeau Photon. So that was the review for issue number 1. Kirby?
They had the new Vampirella run, Dead Flowers, going. I think it's a 5-issue run. In here, it starts out with a caretaker taking care of an old gentleman watching a thunderstorm in his chair, just with the doors open over the balcony, and he's going on about he used to have some type of magical powers, at least he believes mentally. He can't. I kind of get the senile old man type character from him, but he keeps talking about that he's gradually getting his magic back. And then it goes to where him getting out of his chair, going to the balcony, and you see this older gentleman, not as old as him, chasing down a younger girl, and you kind of think creepiness is going on there with what the old man starts talking about. And I thought that's where the story was going. But then we jump over to our Vampirella character. Here's a bigger image of the guy chasing after the girl, and she's all scared, and it's like, oh, what the heck's going on there? And it jumps over to 1969, Merrimack, Long Island, where we have Vampirella going to see an artist who's working on an image of her. He's not really thrilled with her outfit and stuff, but she's like, well, that's my clothes. So then he gets into it and paints it up. But in the background, some of the imagery he has, you kind of get like a girl with the Panthers. So if you know the Dynamite world at all around Vampirella, you got Pantha, you got Vampirella, you got all these different characters, female characters that have these different abilities that come from different types of beasts or demons or whatever type of lore and stuff. And his imagery shows characters that would represent those type of characters. So I think he's basically the artist of that, basically doing all the different Dynamite characters in his artwork in the background. While this is going on, she gets called away, and she has to go to basically she gets a letter, and it brings back memories of her fighting some demons in the past and a certain character from her past. And this letter invites her to the old man's funeral. Well, not the funeral, but the reading of his will. And while she's going around the grounds, getting used to things, just getting a feel for what's going on, because this so happens to be a character from her past that she's had bad dealings with, the guy that's passed away. So she's like, well, why are you summoning me to this and all that? And as she's going through the cemetery, she comes across the girl and the man, older gentleman that's around the girl, and we find out that it's father and daughter. His wife passed horrifically, and it's like we don't get too far into all the details yet, but as you see with the imagery of the gentleman and the girl definitely has a ghost form to her. She's just got this blue skin, all her imagery, she's got this blue body in it. So I'm guessing she is dead also. I mean, the story is called Dead Flowers. We have her dead mother that we learn more about. We have her, and she's always carrying the flowers with her when she's walking around. So I think she's the key point of this whole storyline. But yeah, he's with her all the time. He puts his arm on her shoulder and stuff like that. So she's physically there, but yet I just really feel she's in ghost form. But as we get into this reading of the will, it basically ends up where the gentleman and his daughter are caretakers for the old man, and all they get are the caretaking house. He's like, you can spend the rest of your life there until your demise, which won't be long, and it's like you're stuck there, and so that's all you're getting. And then the lady that took care of the old man, I forget, she got something really crappy. It was something that's not even going to help her financially or nothing, and she was ticked because everything else went to Vampirella. I think I said Vampira earlier or something, but Vampirella was given everything, the estate and all that. And so she kind of like goes to the caretaker's house and sees what's up, and there's a certain banshee type entity flying around their house, torturing them, scaring the little girl. And here we find out it's his wife that passed, and she's in some type of different type of form where she's got this evil entity in her body now, and she's torturing them. Vampirella is going to try and help them out with it. And yeah, screw it, full spoilers, let's just go out there. We basically find out that overall in this whole cursed environment, that the father of the daughter turns into a werewolf towards the end of this first issue. So I'm guessing he killed the wife. The wife was cursed. Something happened to her that she got some entity inside of her. And I'm thinking maybe he killed the daughter, and that's why she's got that ghost form. She's got to be a ghost with having that blue body. I just don't understand what's going on with that yet, but I'm looking forward to the second issue. And I'm definitely in on this one. This is probably one of my favorite Vampirella runs that I've read in a long time. The last few I wasn't overall happy with because it was more focusing on her love life over the times where she like raised a young boy and then fell in love with him and all that. I just thought that was too weird. But this story, I like how it started. I'm interested in where it's going. It's giving you enough different storylines. I think even if you never read Vampirella before, you could jump in on this, and it's just a whole type of different environment that you wouldn't be confused with any of the past lore. You're kind of getting some of her history with like when she sits with the artist and stuff. But yeah, we got enough different entities in this one. I think it's gonna be a fun run to go. I keep showing this blank cover, but I bought a sketch cover, so there's not much to show that.
I was going to ask, because the two books you brought to the table so far, was there a printer's error? There's no cover art on any of those.
No, I ended up going with the sketch versions with the first issues, but they do have plenty of different covers that you can choose from. So. Yeah. So it's one of my favorite Vampirellas in a long time.
Cool. All right, jump back over to Eric. What you got? Welcome back, Eric.
Sorry,
That's right.
I had to make changes. I deactivated my touchpad, needed the mouse, but anyway, still somewhat keeping to the animal theme. Beneath the trees where no one sees, there are definitely two properties that I think come to mind. The first one is the most obvious. If you ever remember the Sylvanian families from the 80s, where, there are a bunch of cute little animals or anthropomorphic animals in small town. This story takes place in a town called Woodbrook. I'm about to celebrate its bicentennial. You see that it centers around a bear woman named Samantha. And you find it's a really lovely little town. There's the town old person who walks around wondering where his glasses are, asking everybody, even though they point out to him, look, they're right there on your face. So yeah, he's basically an institution of the town. Find out that Samantha she owns and runs the hardware store. Apparently she's very meticulous, helps to make things look very neat, very tidy. Everything has to be in its place. So, you're basically painted a picture of this wonderful, idyllic little small town America life with these wonderful, cuddly, cute creatures. Now, I said that there's another property that kind of comes to mind here. And you find out that Samantha likes to take little strolls to the city. And she meets people. And when she meets people, she she paralyzes them by sticking a nail into their brainstem, slits their throats, and drains it all into an oil pan, which actually I have a similar one. It'll hold 10 quarts, which is about what a human body would have. Then, all meticulously neat and tidy, person she met gets eviscerated.
This story took quite a turn.
Yeah, real big turn, because you're like, okay, well, this is some type of psychological thriller, but so far all I see are the civilian family. So the other property, I would say, definitely reminds me of is Dexter. So yeah, so you find out that she does this because it muffles the voice in her head. You know, basically keeps her sane, if you could call it that. But yeah, so she points out, you know, she has rules because she's very meticulous, neat and tidy, everything in their own place. She's buried over 40 people in the woods. Nobody's found out. And one of her basic rules is do it in the city, because people go missing in cities every day. Nobody cares. But if something like that were to happen in Woodbury, or no, what is it, Woodbrook, eyes might come on her, which is funny because the Centennial Parade happens, and then we find the town old goat opened up and put on a float. So that's how it ends, and she realizes, uh-oh, people are going to start looking here. So don't know if this is going to be a serial killer versus serial killer duel, or if it's going to be basically Samantha trying to, you know, hide her extracurricular activities. I don't know, but again, it's one of those first issues where, okay, I'm invested. I have to see this through. So I really like how, you know, it took that left turn while after presenting a wonderful, wholesome image of, like, you know, the rural American town. And now you realize, oh, it's got secrets and even more that you weren't aware of.
Yeah.
So you like messed up stories like that, then Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees is definitely worth a look.
Yeah, it was getting me very strong, like Busy World of Richard Scarry vibes, and then it turned into like an American Horror Story. Like,
So yeah, it
good.
was good. I mean, you know, the cover has Samantha
Oh,
with a red sack and a shovel. So, you know,
okay.
you expect it from the start, but you know, at first I was like, okay, I know I put this on my pull list for a reason, and this is fluffy. It's
I
like,
thought they
oh,
were just
okay, that's why.
I thought they were just picking strawberries or something out in the field or something. So,
Well, you never know.
okay. All right. The third part of my The Marvels curated list is the current series, Ms. Marvel, the New Mutant, and I'll actually be talking about up to issue number 3 at this point. Breakout comic star Kamala Khan, aka Ms. Marvel, enters an exciting new era of storytelling, co-written by the actress that plays her, Aman Vellani. Recently, Kamala made a heroic sacrifice in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, but was later reborn anew thanks to mutant-exclusive resurrection technology. That's right, Kamala Khan is a mutant. This game-changing revelation will thrust the character into the exciting world of the X-Men as she joins the team just as they enter the new era of the fall of X. In this thrilling age of hate and fear, Kamala has a secret mission to pull off for the X-Men, all the while struggling to acclimate to this new part of her identity. This series will be an action packed and heartfelt journey of self discovery as Kamala explores the long hidden truth about herself and realizes how it overlaps and interacts with other aspects of her identity. This comic is done by Aman Vellani, Sabir Perzada, Carlos Gomez, Adam Gorham, Eric Arcia Niega, and VC's Joe Caramagna. So this is the writing debut of Aman Vellani, who we saw make her acting debut as Kamala Khan in Ms. Marvel on Disney Plus and in The Marvels, which is now out in theaters when this episode drops. And the actress herself is a huge fan of Marvel Comics, huge fan of Iron Man, huge fan of Kamala Khan. Once she discovered Kamala Khan, and just a few short years later, she got to portray the character in the MCU, and now co-writing this 4-issue miniseries and giving the very hefty task of this new change for Kamala Khan with bringing her into the Krakoan era of the X-Men storytelling. I talked about that stuff with the Amazing Spider-Man story arc. I talked about the Hellfire Gala early on. We are up to issue 3 of this 4-issue miniseries, and Kamala is sent on her own kind of secret mission. Her and her friend Bruno are there, and they're kind of testing some sleep studies. There's this one of the X-Men villains that's going on. I haven't read all the X-Men tie-ins yet, because the unfortunate rollout of Kamala's mutant reveal is that this series was originally billed as like a mystery series. I forget what the title was, but they do this every couple years where they kind of have you pre-order like sometimes up to 3 issues of a title that you don't even know what it is. You don't know what characters are involved. You have no idea the creative team. If you're a diehard Marvel fan and get almost everything, a lot of times you're gonna pick those up, and I usually take the plunge on those, and it worked out in my favor because it ended up being a Kamala Khan series. The only downside to that was that I didn't have access to any of the images to pre-order a bunch of awesome covers. I'd seek them out later, and then with the rollout of her X-Men connection or mutant connection, is that she started appearing in the main X-Men book, which I wasn't currently reading. So I've got my buddy Sean who gets all the X-Men stuff. So every time Kamala shows up in any X-related book, he drops me a message saying go ahead and continue her journey throughout the Marvel Universe. But through this miniseries, she's on her own journey, and she's at this point where she's part inhuman, part mutant. She does not yet know what her mutant ability is. I'm assuming that's going to be an issue 4 reveal. I don't know if it's going to be something that kind of leads into some of the stuff that we've seen with the MCU, with slight alteration of how her powers are presented. If we're going to see some synergy there, but I'm pretty excited for it. This character, I believe, was originally meant to be a mutant when the character came out in 2013, 2014. But during that time, Marvel did not have the film rights for the X-Men and the mutant characters. So basically, rather than creating a mutant character in their books that immediately they lose film adaptation rights for, they made her an inhuman. And what's kind of fun now is that almost 10 years later, we've kind of come full circle celebrating this character, and now they found a unique way that her mutant gene is being unlocked. So now she's a combo between an inhuman and a mutant. It's pretty cool. This issue, I'll touch on it slightly. As she enters this dream world, she basically, Kamala is rooted in fan fiction, where she writes fan fiction. She admires the Avengers, admires Captain Marvel and all that stuff. But we saw it at the end of issue 2, so I'm okay with revealing this here. So she's basically going on this like trippy dream world journey with a character she's created in her fan fiction. She loves Doctor Strange, and she loves, and not only does the character Kamala love, but Aman Vellani loves the Silver Surfer. So we have Dr. Surfer makes an appearance in her fan fiction story. So this character, basically the Silver Surfer and Doctor Strange combo on a surfboard hanging out. There's Kamala sitting there on the end of it. But yeah, so there's some fun things in there that still stay true to Kamala's character and everything, but this overall X-Men villain is kind of in the lab and trying to track down Ms. Marvel and trying to kind of probe her dreams and do what she can to basically eliminate the X-Men, and she's going to use it through their brand new member who has no idea what her mutant powers are even. So yeah, that is the setup for this. I believe the trade paperback of this 4-issue is in the current catalog, so there's a good chance I'm talking about it in the next segment. But yeah, it's been interesting to watch Mon Vellani shine on the small screen and seeing her jump over to the big screen and now take on writing Marvel Comics as a huge avid Marvel Comics reader and stuff, and just comics in general. It's been fun just kind of watching her experience this life path that she didn't even pursue and just kind of almost fell into her lap. And yeah, so it's cool to see the actress rein in this brand new era of the character in the books. That is Ms. Marvel, The New Mutant number 3. All right, jump over to Kirby.
Got Usagi Yojimbo, Ice and Snow number 1. The close of 16th century Japan is regarded as the age of civil wars. As feudal lords fought amongst themselves for land and power, it was during the Battle of Adakigahara that the samurai Miyamoto Usagi lost his lord Mifune to the armies of Lord Hikiji. With no clan, Usagi now walks the warrior pilgrimage, searching for harmony. Discovering a long-lost cousin recently, Usagi and his newly found relative Yukichi head south in the winter, leaving the warmth of a kind couple's home in Sendai province in northern Honshu. This is all done by Stan Sakai. We seen him in between his lords, and we had that Where When crossover with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where we went back in time and helped some other clans and all that, and now we're coming back to a whole new storyline that Stan Sakai's promised us coming up to the 40th anniversary next year. And this was a really well done story. I'm looking forward to where the rest of this goes. This is going to be a 5-issue run, and it follows off the rest of Usagi Yojimbo perfectly. Very well done, but we got our characters walking through the snow, freezing their butts off, hoping that they can find some warmth somewhere. And while they're walking through the woods, they're talking about the gold that the couple bags of gold that they were given from the last people that they helped out, and some characters in the woods overhear this, and they're like, well, they got food, they got gold, we might as well take them out. The head guy wants to get the rest of the clan together because they're samurais. It's like, we're just regular people and we're going to be battling samurais. We should get more men. They're like, we got enough men, so they attack. And of course, that's not going to be enough to. Doesn't matter how many characters you're going to have, you're not going to have enough to take down Usagi or Jimbo. But they attack and they deal with the battle, go through all that, and then we get beyond that, and all of a sudden Usagi's his hand kind of like just starts like pulling him away. He's like, go in this direction, and he's like, well, my hand's making me want to go this way. So they go running through the woods, follow where his hand leads them, and they end up finding a cabin in the woods, which is always a little scary. You gotta worry about why there's a cabin out in the middle of nowhere. And they go in and end up finding out that there is a kind of a unique gal sitting in there around a little pot with a little fire going on, but yet the place is ice cold. She's ice cold, and she invites him to come near the cooking area and warm up, have some food. They had their own food they offered to share, but she's like, no, I got food right here, I already ate, and wanted to give them an offering of dinner and then set them up with some bed mats and let them sleep by the fire. She's like, I'll just sleep over here on the ground. I'm used to that. I've lived here so long, I'm used to the cold weather and all that. So always kind of a little worrisome when you hear things like that. There's got to be something up with all that. But while this is going on, there's this interesting pair of characters walking through the woods. A younger girl, and then this one that's kind of got white eyes and likes to walk around with her head tilted. And it's like, well, something's up with her. she's obviously not right in the head. The little girl constantly pulls out her flute and just walks around playing the flute. Anytime something bad happens, the little girl's playing the flute, and they get some food along the way by finding an animal that they take down and get themselves some food. And they just go walking through the woods with that until they find a cabin that just so happens to be the cabin that the bad guys happen to live in, that they come across, and they go in there and just basically want someone to cook it for them, get the food going, but don't cook it that much, the little girl says, and she wants it still nice and bloody and raw to eat. So something's up with them, and every time someone messes with the older lady, the girl pulls out her flute and just starts playing it, and all of a sudden strange one just does what she does and takes down whoever she has to, deals with it in her own strange forms, and kind of has like special strength and all this you notice from her when she's doing things. So she knows she's got something wrong with her. And at the same time, we got Usagi and his cousin just sitting there thinking they're in a cabin, they're safe, they're nice and warm, and they go ahead and have dinner, bunk down, and while Usagi's sleeping, he hears some rumbling and kind of starts to get cold because the fire burned out, and he's like, well, maybe she'll be all right if I throw a few more logs on the fire. So he's getting there, wakes up, and has a surprise that the gal that gave them warmth and gave them a roof over the heads just happens to be a demon of sorts, and she's trying to devour his cousin. So we find out that the little girl and the other gal is kind of some type of demon characters. I'm guessing that they're going to eventually cross paths with Usagi and his cousin, and I don't know if all these different demons are connected in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I really loved where the story is going. I like the characters they're bringing into it. It's a nice little offshoot from what we dealt with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover and the storyline before this. That was more old school Usagi, and this is taking us in a different direction. So yeah, I'm liking this. I'm looking forward to what we have coming next year from Stan Sakai and his wife and his daughter. So they're all joining forces, I guess. So.
Cool. Because yeah, is there a? Well, I know there's a Turtles anniversary. I was trying to think if there was a Usagi.
Both Usagi and the Turtles are both hitting 40 years next year. So it's gonna Stan's teasing that there's gonna be another big crossover with them, hopefully. So
cool. Yeah,
which you can find out more about that on the couples counseling comic book couples counseling podcast. They had a interview with him and his wife and found out lots of fun things from him.
Cool. All right, one more review in this round, and that is Eric. What you got?
All right, I have Gone by Jock from Batman One Dark Knight fame. Apparently, he still likes having the weird shapes. I don't know why. This means I have to keep it in the bookcase instead. But it's a sci-fi. It sets up. You find out it centers around a girl named Abby. This is during the time where I guess there's space exploration. Rich people get to live in great big cities. People who aren't rich are in ramshackle shanty towns where they have to try to live off what meager supplies that they are given or stolen. Because there's a lot of people who run into the city, grab supplies to bring it back, and there's actually a whole economy of that. And the girl Abby, she frequently does that to help out her mother, who's pregnant. Later on, turns out that there's a cruiser that comes in, like one of the biggest, and essentially what their grift is to do, it's to sneak a whole bunch of people on board, grab a whole bunch of supplies, get it into one of the escape shuttles, and get out, which is something I guess has happened a lot. And because these shuttles are so overly stocked, they're not worried about missing, a few supplies. So she gets on with a large group, and then she finds out unexpectedly that some of the group are terrorists or freedom fighters. This puts her in a new situation where she gets separated from all the other kids that she was running with. She has to remotely blow their escape hatch out, which also ends up killing some of the security. So while all her friends and everyone she knows is back down on the planet, she is now stuck on this giant cruise liner where she is forced basically to live in the vents and the inner workings. And you find out she's actually very resourceful. She's able to, stay ahead of security. And if people find them, she knows how to lose them. You find out that Cook has also been giving her food to help her out, because not everybody is aligned with the super rich. And just when you think that she'll be fine and she's found a way to, basically eke out her existence, the terrorists end up making another attack, and they recognize her, and they take her, saying, "It's okay, we've got you, Abby." And that's where this leaves. So, like I said, I like the story, and just like in One Dark Night, Jack gives us really good artwork too. So, I remember that One Dark Night, it was one of our club picks, and now that he's gone into what's this called? This is the label is Distillery, which I believe is creator owned. Now he gets a little more creative freedom, and which is good. He gets to tell his own story instead of trying to have to, stay within an established one. And given the size of the ship she's on, I think that there's plenty of room for her to get lost in, and story can go on for a while. I don't know how many is supposed to be in this run, but so far, I know just this one, and I'm already hooked. So definitely a good entry in sci-fi. So
Yeah, I agree as well. Distillery, I've talked about that. I'm pretty much picking up all of their number ones. I'm very curious. They have an awesome creative team across the entire board of all these books that they're kind of rolling out. So I'm at least here for the first issues to kind of, see what they're like. And yeah, obviously the creator team having Jock do this one here is definitely got me to drop the money down to pre-order it. So. All right, that is going to do it for the weekly reviews, but I do have a quick plug here for stuff that just came out. Happy Astronaut issue number 2 by my friends Matt Fife and Matt Rogers. And this is extra special because, and let me block it out so you don't see the last page story reveal, but this is one of my 2 debuts for a printed pinup that I drew. I drew this on our show Cartoonist by Night, and they were happy enough to ask if I wanted that to be on the inside back cover. So there it is, and it has a bunch of Easter eggs for all the things that we talked about on the Cartoonist by Night show at that time. But yeah, so this is now an official art pinup that I had the opportunity to be printed in. There is another cover where it's the weathered copy, and that's where Matt Rogers kind of bangs it up and puts like fake stickers on there, and just kind of, it's one of those retailer incentive type covers. And then Alejandro Rosado did the cover B, so his variant cover of that one is out there. So yeah, it was cool to know this was coming, to have these in hand, and that's Happy Astronaut issue number 2. And I actually had another pinup, which ended up being the first published pinup that was in my hands. Happy Astronaut would have won that if there wasn't the slight shipping delay. So our friend Brian Lynch, who was on this very show, he was the creator of the Hot Wing of Justice, as well as Project Pumpkin. This is available. This is a self-published book. He had a release party at Oh Yeah Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie, Halloween weekend, and I was down there to celebrate, not only to hold on to this awesome book of pinups of his character. He created this Pumpkin, Jokin' the Pumpkin, this crazy character that was supposed to be a one-time gag on his Hot Wing of Justice Instagram comic, and we all embraced it and loved it, and it turned into now a physical book in which myself and 10 or 12 other creators or so did some fun pinups. I will show mine here. We were tasked to do like recognizable poses, or like paying homage to like a movie poster or a comic cover or something. And I went ahead and did an homage to, I said homage and homage, that way both audiences are covered on however you pronounce that. I did Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, but in Attack of the 50-Foot Pumpkin. So yeah, if you look back on that movie poster, I kind of replicated that, but put the pumpkin down there in beautiful downtown Skokie. I have not revealed this art until it was out there in the world printed, but I did this back in summer. I drew Oh Yeah Comics in there. I have a little Easter egg of the Gucci Nana hiding under the bridge. And there's hot wings and hot sauce and fries and pumpkin seeds all about. And yeah, so it was cool. There's a lot of awesome creators that contributed in here, some of which we've talked about here on this very show. If you want a copy of this, reach out to Brian Lynch at Hot Wing of Justice on Instagram, or if you want to email him directly, hotwingofjustice@gmail.com, or go down to beautiful downtown Skokie at Oh Yeah Comics and pick yourself up a copy. And yeah, so this is Project Pumpkin, the latest release from Brian Lynch. And yeah, so just wanted to promote those. Those things are out there. Check them out. That is going to do it for the weekly reviews. Let's jump over to our last segment, which is the news.
And now the news.
Welcome to part 1 of 2 of our previews preview. We are jumping into the November catalogs. This episode, we're going to focus on Marvel and DC Comics products coming out in a different month, January 2024. That's right. We're already excited about what's being printed in 2024, everybody. We're going to start with the Marvel catalog. First thing I'll promote here is, speaking of Kamala Khan earlier, Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 15, which is jumping into the middle of the gang war. I haven't been currently reading the Spider-Man series, but I saw Kamala on the cover, and it looks like she does jump into the story. It's not part of like an anniversary cover or a special month or something. So she is part of the story. So I am going to pick up this issue. I'm in the transition period of the Amazing Spider-Man, where I went from single issues into the trade paperback, starting with the gang war. So I'm not sure what the trade paperbacks are all going to include, but this one I want just because Kamala specifically rejoins her former Champions co-member, Miles Morales. So yeah, that is Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 15. Kirby?
I got Alien Black, White, and Blood number 1. They don't have a description this month yet, so I'm guessing we'll find out more next month. But I'm guessing you got 3 different short stories based off the Black, White, and Blood art style. And if it's like any of the rest, it'll be a lot of fun.
Probably a fair guess. Katie?
Okay, we have Star Wars Dark Droids The D Squad trade paperback. This is from their Dark Droids event they ran over the summer, which I skipped on. So I'm excited to pick up this trade that contains Dark Droids D Squad number 1 through 4. It's written by Mark Guggenheim with art by Salva Espin and David Messina. This is actually an advanced solicit. It will be in stores in March and it will cost $18. So yeah, not January, but if you're interested in this, go ahead and get your pre-orders in so it'll show up to you on March 6th, 2024.
Cool. Eric, anything from Marvel?
Yeah, not really anything that this month previews that seem to speak to me. I mean, there's the new Punisher, which drops this week, which I'm looking forward to. But other than that, not really much from Marvel that's gotten my eye. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I talked about Ms. Marvel, the New Mutant. They have the 4-issue trade paperback coming out also in March of 2024. And I've already read you the synopsis in the last segment. So if you want those 4 issues and you missed out on them, you can grab the first kind of arc of Kamala's new journey with Ms. Marvel, the New Mutant, coming out in March. Kirby?
Yeah, that's all I got for Marvel. This is a definite short month. I'm going to finally save some money this month.
I'm in the same boat. I've got one more tab here, but Katie, anything else from Marvel?
I do actually. This is a pretty bigger month for me with Marvel. I have Star Wars Mace Windu number 1. Now, I may end up getting the trade of this just due to budget, but I'm really happy to see this because the last Mace Windu story that I think came out in like 2017, it needed some work. So I'm excited to see how this one will go. I think it'll be better because Mace Windu is actually a very interesting character, and in the old EU they did a lot to kind of explore why he is the hard ass tough guy that he is. So I think that it'd be interesting to see another comic about Mace, and I do hope it's better. This will be in shops on February 7th, 2024. It's going to cost $5.99. So there's that Marvel special price, and I think it's going to be a series. Given that it's number 1, I think they are going to go through like 4 or 5. And if you did want to read that Mace Windu series from like 2017, it's often available as a part of Amazon Prime Reading for free. Otherwise, I know it's also on Comixology. So anyway, Mace Windu number 1, check it out.
And most likely it's part of the Marvel Unlimited as well. So yeah, there's probably many outlets. The last one that I had flagged for something new, we've been talking a lot about these one-shots from Marvel Unlimited being printed. We have Marvel Meow. This is Marvel Meow number 1. Marvel's most fearsome and furious heroes are here to save the day and beg for treats in the process. Follow Chewie, Leho, Alpine, and the rest of the Avengers' feline friends as they cause a few catastrophes and maybe vanquish some villains in the process. Whether it's crashing Captain Marvel's apartment or defeating Doc Ock, you can always count on these cats for some cute chaos. Collecting the hit Infinity Comic series from Marvel Unlimited and featuring a brand new cover and exclusive new story. This is one of their 56-page one-shots, also for $5.99. But if it's anything like the Alligator Loki and the It's Jeff and stuff that we've been reading, we've all been pretty satisfied with that. The only thing I could warn is that maybe just possibly minimal dialogue. We've seen that a lot with these kind of stories, then presented in the Marvel Infinity Scroll on the Unlimited app. And I don't recall, I maybe read a couple of these when I still had Marvel Unlimited, but Chewie's there, Captain Marvel's there, we got Black Cat's there, looks like Black Widow. Oh, it looks like Bucky's got a cat as well. So, so I'm excited to check that out. That is Marvel Meow number 1, and that does it for me. Was that it for you then, Kirby, as well? Then you're good. So, Katie, anything else that you had for Marvel?
Yes. All right. So they are reprinting some of the Star Wars Epic Collection Volume 1s. Particularly Rise of the Sith, I want to highlight. I had to do a lot of work and a not insignificant amount of money to find that book because it had been out of print for a while, and then they were focusing on the omnibus editions, which are lovely hardcover volumes, and now they're re-releasing this for its original cover price of $45. So if you are into the Epic collections and you want to have a paper copy of them, I would get your pre-orders in because these were kind of hard to find for a while, and I don't know if and when they will be reprinted. These are definitely advanced solicits. They're coming out late spring or early summer of 2024. You can go ahead and get the Empire Volume 1 and Rise of the Sith Volume 1. And then the one that I am the most excited for and was just so happy when I heard about it, we are getting another run of Thrawn comics. So it is Star Wars Thrawn Alliances. This is adapting Timothy Zahn's second book in the well, he's written 2 modern Thrawn trilogies, but his first modern Thrawn trilogy is called Star Wars Alliances, and it explores an adventure between Grand Admiral Thrawn and Darth Vader, and then some figures from Vader's past also make an appearance. So it does this time travel thing that I think actually would work best in comics. I have read the book, I've listened to the book, and I do think comics are probably the best medium for that. I'm pumped for it. Jody Houser is the writer with assistance from Timothy Zahn. Love to see that he's included. I generally enjoy everything I read from Jody Houser, and she's pretty good at adaptations. I can't think of any massive stinkers that she's written where I'm like, oh no. But I feel pretty safe with that team. The art is by Andrea DeVito, Pat Olifi, and the cover art will be Rod Reese. And of course, there's a whole slew of variant covers. If you are an EU fan or a Legends fan, you know who Thrawn is backwards and forwards. If you are coming to it just from the Disney era, he was in Star Wars Rebels, and then most recently debuted in live action in Ahsoka as Lars Mikkelsen. I'm so excited for this. I may double, triple dip on this. Who knows? I've talked enough. It's going to be $6 an issue, so it's that $5.99 price, and it will be out on January 24th, 2024. I can't wait to pre-order this. I've been checking for it. I am so happy for it. That is Star Wars Thrawn Alliances #1. Check it out. And I think that wraps up everything that I need from Marvel this time. So now we'll go on to DC.
Cool. And starting with DC, just to keep the order here, Eric, anything from DC Comics?
I hate to sound like a broken record, but nothing popped out this month. So I am saving money too.
I've got 1 tab, so we'll see how this round goes. But I got so much stuff to read that's piling up, so I'm trying to really cut down and make room for things that I bought years ago that I picked up at cons and stuff. But so yeah, so that's the end of that line. So I will kick it off here then. The 1 tab I have is one of their original graphic novels. This is Bad Dream, a Dreamer Story. This is written by Nicole Maines and art by Ry Hickman. Just gotta get the lighting here. Okay, Dreamer's origin story has finally arrived, featuring characters from Galaxy, the prettiest star in DC's first YA crossover. Nia Knowles spent her whole life taking a back seat to her older sister, Maeve, who's expected to inherit their mother's, no, boy, there's a lot of DC words here, Naltorian powers, the ability to see the future through dreams. But when Nia starts having visions of the future, she must suppress her powers to protect her relationship with her sister. There's only one problem. Nia can't stay awake forever. From actress, activist, and writer Nicole Maines, who originated the role of Dreamer in the first trans superhero on TV from the CW's Supergirl. The artist Ry Hickman comes the highly anticipated origin story of a girl who must accept her destiny to discover she's more powerful than she could ever dream of. After wrapping the CW Supergirl series, Nicole Maines was brought into, I think her first story was in one of the DC Pride, their summer annual issues that they do. And I think she has done a couple other things within the character as well as within DC. And now she's tasked with writing this graphic novel. So yeah, these things are really cool. I always enjoy these because these kind of graphic novels, these YAs that they do, they're not married to any continuity. They can change things up and just really have fun with it. And it's like a Black Label, but for a youth, a young adult. I was trying to think of YA, youth adult, young adult. So it's just kind of fun to see that there's really no holds barred when it comes to just kind of letting them tell an awesome story. So yeah, I'm definitely going to check out Bad Dream, A Dreamer Story, coming out. Let's see if that one is January or not. That one's April, so advanced solicit for April. So plenty of time to rewatch Supergirl to lead into that. All right, that does it for me. Let's jump over to Kirby.
Yeah, I sadly got creator stuff from the past couple cons that's buried in my stack too that I swore I'd have a video for, and I want to get that done eventually. But I do not have nothing I'm getting from DC, but I am going to give a shout out to one that I'm just going to wait for the trade to come out, and then I'm going to get into it because I like the original run. I didn't read the whole thing. I have most of it, but I read a little bit of it so far. But we got John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America, #1 by DC Black Label, and I like that it's under the Black Label cover. At last, as you demanded, the celebrated creative team of Cy Spurrier and Aaron Campbell have returned to Hellblazer. John Constantine has cheated death once again, but his heart's not beating, his body is decaying, and he, his friend Nat, and his son Noah are on the run in America, wanted for murder. Naturally, it's all John's fault. It always is. But as it turns out, Dream himself needs John's help. Something terrible has taken root in America, and it's using the sand from Dream's pouch to impose its will. If John can put a stop to it, he might be able to parlay that favor into a chance to save all their lives, but he's going to need help from someone he hasn't spoken to in years. Someone he wasn't always all that kind to. Someone or something. Spurrier and Campbell's we don't need to get into that, but yeah, a little bit of the first Hellblazer run I read was excellent. I'm looking forward to where this goes.
Cool. Katie.
Okay, I also don't have anything from DC, but I'd be open to a club pick. I do want to correct myself though on my last recommendation. I called it time travel. That's not accurate. It's not that the characters travel in time. It's that the perspective of the storytelling shifts in time. So there's the present and then going back to the past, but it's not like time travel is a plot device within the story to do something. It's just we have the present and the past together. So wanted to clarify that, but nothing for me, but I'm excited to hear about what we have next.
Okay, and going around, I think, is that everybody? Anybody have anything from DC? Even though we didn't mention too much from Marvel and DC, there's still a lot of stuff in their catalog. Some of the stuff that we're getting might be ongoing and things like that. So sometimes we'll just highlight the brand new things. But as we all said too, it's good to cut cost every now and then because there's always so much stuff to read. And we have our independent catalogs that we'll cover on our next available episode, which all the different publishers, we have the new publisher with Distillery. So there's always new comics and Kickstarters and Zoops and self-publishing, and just like there's so much stuff going on there, as well as original web comics on our website, crimsoncowl.com. That's right. We have all the information for what we do here at Crimson Cowl Media, as well as the original web comics that are available at crimsoncowl.com. Then we have the Crimson Cowl Comic Club on YouTube. If you are just listening to this, you can go over to YouTube, hit subscribe to Crimson Cowl Comics on YouTube, and check out the video version. You get to see all of our smiling faces. You get to see our backgrounds. You get to see the show and tell. You sometimes see animals pop up, whether they're real, whether they're fake. We have a lot of fun stuff happening on the YouTube. So always hit like and subscribe and comment and share and all that fun stuff. Instagram, which is The Crimson Cowl, all one word on Instagram. Crimson Cowl Comic Club on iTunes. Subscribe, rate, and review, all of that fun stuff. Crimson Cowl Comic Club at yahoo.com if you want to reach out to us and send out maybe a future letters page question. We haven't done one of those in a while. If you have a fun question that we could throw out to everybody in the club, submit it to Crimson Cowl Comic Club at yahoo.com. Kirby, you have a spin-off podcast called Under the Cowl of MS. You want to promote what's been going on and what's coming up with your podcast?
I've been slacking. I got some old videos I finally got put out, a couple new unpacking videos. I got a stack of comics I actually did read, but I haven't done the review videos for those yet. So I'm hoping I can get those done this week. I made a promise on my audio podcast that I am going to get some more stuff out starting this week. It's just been hard with not having a good room to work with. It's just lots of stuff happening. So yeah, but I will get back to comics, mixed martial arts, wrestling, football, who knows, anything I can come up with, and I'll have more stuff for you in the near future.
Squirrel battles.
Yeah, lots of squirrel stuff happening.
So check out.
I got 3 trail cameras now, so who knows what kind of videos I'm going to come up with.
Check out Under the Call of MS wherever you get your podcast, as well as YouTube. You can follow my art accounts, Anthony Laatsch, Laatsch, on Instagram and Facebook to see what I've been drawing. I had just recently wrapped up a drawing for every single day in October to celebrate the spooky season, mostly all horror-related stuff and fun. I did a lot of fun Muppets drawings of them as some of the Universal monsters, and debuted the pumpkin drawings, including a pumpkin drawing that was too hot for publication that's not in that book. I submitted one and it was just too racy. You're going to have to go to my Facebook or Instagram art accounts to see what that was from a couple days ago. Also, I am the creator and co-host of Cartoonist by Night. Actually, I said that in the wrong order. I am a co-creator and host of Cartoonist by Night on YouTube. We recently dropped a giant, awesome episode entering our new era with creator guest. We welcome writer and artist Franco to the show. We teased about it here. The episode has been recorded, it has been edited and released. That's almost 2.5 hours. And as a cool little tease, because it's been a week now, that's usually when I put the art out there. I made a post earlier. It'll be probably 2 weeks by the time this comes out. The art that he did, because he selected Star Wars. We're going to talk and draw Star Wars. Thanks to Katie and Kirby for submitting some fun questions and some hard-hitting ones, because Franco was not ready for some of those. He's we didn't want him just coming in easy breezy, just hanging out, drawing, having an easy time. We had to make sure that we challenged him a little. But he chose the topic of Star Wars. He saw my Madman sticker on my drawing board, and he just goes, you know what? I'm going to draw Madman as a Jedi. So on the show, you see him do his ballpoint pen drawing to kind of sketch out Madman as a Jedi to kind of get where he wants to do. He wants to then, he light boxes it onto his Bristol board. And I purchased both of these original art items because they were right up my alley. So here's the finished art piece that you see on that episode with Franco. If you are only listening to the Crimson Cowl Comic Club, you are not seeing what I am showing. So go over to YouTube, check out Crimson Cowl Comic Club as well as Cartoonist by Night. We do have another giant episode that has been recorded. I'm going to dive into editing this weekend. It is with our friend D. Brad. D. Brad is one of the constant commenters over at All Yeah Comics and Art Baltazar's live shows. And he's somebody that has been participating with the show as well. And there's a lot of fun stuff that he shows off there. And I will reveal that his topic he selected was cartoon ducks. So we talk and draw cartoon ducks. That episode was a lot of fun. We all met him for the first time face to face through Zoom, so it was fun to put a face and voice to the text that we would see on the bottom of our Balthazar's drawing shows. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on over there. I think that covers everything. I'm gonna have to get going because by the time this drops, I have to go see the Marvels for the 3rd time, maybe even the 4th time this weekend. So that is gonna do it for this episode. This whole time, I've been going higher, further, faster.
I've been barking up a storm at a Alice Cooper Rob Zombie concert, Raising the Dead.
I've been a 1.5-month-old rescue kitten.
I've been looking for an asbestos puppy pad that can handle Hellhound accidents.
To be continued.
Slimer.